Mike Gallagher Show on Salem News Channel and the Salem Radio Network.
Right now I have Democratic sources, former Biden sources, describing her as a DEI hire, someone that was unqualified, someone that was never prepared, and someone that was just too scared of her own shadow to get out there and deliver the message for the president.
In the ReliefFactor.com studios, here's Mike.
It's really hard to overstate what a mess the Democrats are facing right now. And look, if it continues and if they can't get out of the way of themselves, you know we're going to win the midterms, right? You know we're just going to strengthen our majority. Republicans are going to strengthen the majority in the House and the Senate and probably sail to a landslide in 2028. If they want to go all in and defend rioters and pretend that most people are against the deportation of illegals. That's what's astounding to me. I happened to catch a local newscast last night here in Tampa Bay, Channel 10, and there was a female anchor. I don't know her name. And as she was covering and reporting on the riots that are going on in California, she said almost regretfully, 55% of Americans favor Trump's deportation policy. And then she got a little excited. She said, but 44% disapprove of Trump's deportation. Well, excuse me, if 55% are in favor, yeah, we get it. The other half, or almost half, will be against it. We get that. But the way she said it was perfect. It was hysterical. The media, look at the Terry Moran saga. It's a guy who gets suspended from ABC for his posts. I got to read the post. And I was talking to Mark Davis about it this morning. It was kind of wild that this guy, who is supposed to be, I mean, he's a correspondent and got a big wig job over at ABC. And his post, which he deleted, went on a rampage against President Trump and Stephen Miller. He called President Trump a world-class hater. And, I mean, it's unhinged. I can't find the full tweet. I got to find it somewhere. All right, here it is. 12:06 a.m. This guy's tweeting after midnight. 12:06 a.m. The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Bile, B-I-L-E. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. This is Terry Moran, not Rachel Maddow. This isn't, Joy Reid or Don. This is Terry Moran, the national correspondent for ABC News, who just sat down a few weeks ago with a one-on-one interview with Donald Trump. He concluded by saying Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred is only a means to an end. And that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. Well, that drew a suspension from ABC News. He's now under review and has been suspended from his job. And I don't care about whether he works at ABC or works at NBC or CBS. Anyway, I don't care about any of these folks other than wondering why they can't be objective. Why can't they be neutral? I don't know that I could be wrong. This is way before my time, but Edward R. Murrow was a journalist, a war correspondent, a guy who covered the war over in London from the roof of, from the rooftops of London. Walter Cronkite. I'm sorry, people didn't know what he was, a Democrat or a Republican, because regardless of his own political beliefs, He presented the news in a neutral, objective way. Why can't they do that? Why is everything so one-sided? Even from just a business perspective, don't you think they would fare better if they presented the news with a degree of neutrality? I mean, Terry Moran, plenty of followers on social media, and he turns around and does that, shattering his credibility with, again, normal people. I keep thinking of the normals. I'm not thinking about the agitators or the leftists or the people that are in the streets rioting and damaging buildings and assaulting cops. I'm talking about normal people. Normal people. So, whether he gets his job back or not is beside the point. Have you ever stopped to wonder why ABC, CBS, NBC, the Washington Post for that matter, why don't they try to be objective? Why don't they present both sides of an issue and let people decide? Look, you can have a debate about deportations. You could have, and I would love that. I like debate. I like dissent. I like delving into political issues and social issues and looking at every side of an issue. That's not what ABC does. That's certainly not what Terry Moran does. Maybe they're not capable of doing it. Promo code Mike Jeek. Dennis is in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Hi, Dennis. How are you?
I'm okay. By the way, in the early 1800s, there was an American citizen who was a traitor to America. A federal judge sentenced him to live on an American ship, going back and forth over the ocean, and never come off.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, I remember reading about that. I know what you're talking about, but I also make me think about Greta Thunberg, and I can't resist. I can't miss telling you this story. Israeli forces early Monday detained the boat bound for Gaza that was carrying Greta and other activists. Check this out. The Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, has instructed the IDF to screen the footage of the October 7th massacre to Greta and her comrades. They're going to make Greta look at that 37-minute video that I saw with my own eyes. Might give that young lady a bit of an education, don't you think?
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.